Let's talk living room rugs. Let's talk about getting your living room rug right. We've all purchased a rug that isn't quite right, it's not the right size. On the wall, on the hanger in the shop, it looks like a great size. You get it home and it feels like it has shrunk by like 50%. And all of a sudden you're like, what has happened? And unfortunately, the size of rugs is one of the biggest things that most homeowners or homemakers get wrong because they just don't do a couple of simple things. And I'm here today to help give you some confidence and some inspiration to make sure you buy the right sized rug. Hi everyone, I'm Jade and I absolutely love decor, styling and making spaces feel amazing. I am all for adding personality, adding some interest, and it doesn't matter on the budget or where you are located, you can still have a beautiful, cozy space that says what you would like it to say. Today, we are chatting all about the right sized rug, especially in a living room space. These are probably the one thing that I get most messages and most calls about and most emails of like, I've purchased the rug, now what do I do? It doesn't quite fit. I've purchased a rug, it's the wrong shape or whatever. And so I would just like to jump in and give you a whole heap of information about things to look for before you go out shopping. There is a couple of things that you really need to do. So let's jump in. Also, I have created a guide in PDF form. If you would like it, hit the link in the description. It is yours for free. You'll just jump into my newsletter guide club. So first things first, before you even start looking online in a shop, whatever, you need to measure your space. Get that tape measure out. It is something that is like permanently connected to me. It is a tape measure. It doesn't lie. We need to know what we're working with and what kind of space needs to be addressed. Some people have like an open living, but they want to define the space. You can't define the space if you don't know what you're working with. So taking accurate measurements of the zone or the area and writing it down. We're not up here, we are writing it down, putting it in your phone. We need those measurements hard without a question of a doubt of what they are. So once we do the measuring, then we need to make sure that we're measuring the right space. So we want to make sure that our layout is correct. Is the sofas going to be there for a while? They're not changing. The TV's in the location that it's not changing. Making sure that I'll pop up the pictures from the guide and you'll sort of see what I'm talking about with making sure that everything that you want in that space will be touched by the rug. Everything has to sit on top of that rug. This is going to give you the most luxury, beautiful, and put together space, because that's all what we're looking for, the put together feeling, that it's all together, cozy, and making sure everything is touching the rug is an absolute 100% winner and easy way to make sure that room comes together and feels pulled together. So we avoiding the floating furniture feeling, because if something's floating and doesn't quite touch, but it also doesn't come close to being near something else like an occasional chair, then sometimes it can feel off. I want you to also write down like the minimum measurements and the maximums, because every rug company sells rugs a slightly different size, and sometimes you need that little bit of wiggle room. So go to the front feet of the sofa and behind the sofa. That could give you an extra meter or 600 millimeters, but we need to know the minimum of the front legs. And then same with like the TV unit or the wall generally. We need to know that maximum size and the minimum. So you can definitely have a bit of wiggle room and understand that a certain rug will fit and look great being a bigger size rather than being too small and not touching. So the different room configurations that I've popped up, they are very, very standard, I suppose, over in Australia. The L shapes, the couple of occasional chairs with one longer sofa. I haven't placed a TV in any of these because quite often a TV is just on a wall. So this approach helps to find some balance in the space before we even think about what the rug would look like, what kind of material it's going to be made from. We just wanted to know like the most basic of size first. That is the most important part, because you could find the most amazing, glorious fabric rug, and if it's too small, it will look wrong. Now, we've all done this, me included. I purchased a rug many moons ago in one of our first homes, and I bought it off one of those hanging racks, and it looked ginormous. As a shorty, it looked huge on me. I was like, oh yeah, that's absolutely fine. That'll fit the space. And I put it in the room and almost died. It barely touched half of the room. It didn't go under all the furniture. Literally got laid out. I was like, oh, that's wrong, and rolled back up, essentially. And I couldn't return it because most of the rugs you can't return. And once you have your measurements and once you have your layout that you're happy with, like you're not changing your sofa and things, you're pretty happy with how it is, sketch it out sort of thing. The same way that I sort of sketched out in here. So you know your layout, you know your minimums, you know your maximums. That is going to help you so much when you go to purchase, whether you purchase in-store or online. You know your measurements and you know your layout. So you know that everything's going to touch at that minimum measurement. Now, there's a couple of little extra tips that I wanted to throw in, and that is, don't be afraid of mixing shapes and materials, because there is so much on the market. There are some glorious, beautiful rugs that are just incredible colors and fabrics and materials. That don't be afraid of leaning in, because at the end of the day, it is a soft furnishing and it won't be with you forever, and you should enjoy it no matter what. And rugs really do bring personality and that uniqueness to your space. And that is something that I am so like a fan of. I changed up a rug recently. I'll show you in our living space, and I absolutely love it. Although only a few people have actually seen it. Everyone's commented like, oh wow, look at those colors, look at that shape. I love it. And it is so soft to touch. And I'm absolutely thrilled with it because it really brings our space together. And the colors really talk to each other in a way that I was hoping for. So that was just a really quick run through about finding the perfect rug size for your living room. I wanted to create something super specific and give you the confidence and a few tools to really get in and make sure you're buying and purchasing something that you will love and that is right for the space. And there's definitely so many more avenues that we could go down, and I have lots of other ideas about rugs and specific color ranges and styles that I will go into later on. But this one was really just nailing down that first step of making sure you're measuring correctly and understanding why, that we want everything to be sitting on top of the rug and not floating in the middle of the room, especially if you're trying to work in an open planned space, or even a smaller space, but zoning it can be by a couple of different shaped rugs, and making sure those sizes are correct. As always, I did mentioned before that the guide will be in the description below. If you have any questions about that at all, please reach out. Drop me a comment about, have you purchased a wrong sized rug before? I'm sure we all have over our lifetime. Thankfully, I've only done it a couple of times, and now I definitely know better. There's no scrolling and no finding a rug until I know the sizes that I need. because that will be disheartening because you find something and it's not going to fit properly. So that is, a big tip of mine. I've learnt many lessons over the years from my decor failures and mix-ups of things. But as always, if you have liked this video, I would love you to subscribe. And as always, I'll see you in my next one. Bye.